We just took our two kids, ages 2 and 4, all the way to Peru, including Machu Picchu. And if we paid cash for this trip, it would have cost us over $25,000. But we didn't. And in this video, I'm breaking down exactly what we paid, where we used points, where we spent cash, and honestly, what was actually worth it. Because some parts of this trip were way more expensive than I expected, and others were shockingly cheap. And just to be fully transparent, this was not some perfectly smooth luxury travel experience. We had early mornings, altitude sickness, kids melting down, and at one point we were almost sprinting through the airport trying to make a connection. So this isn't just the numbers. I'm going to show you what this actually felt like with kids. And if you're new here, my name's Mary, and I teach you how to maximize your points, miles, and money so that you can travel the world for nearly free, even with a family. And if you're totally new to points and miles, then you'll want to pick up a copy of my free beginner's guide to points and miles travel, which I'll have linked in the description below. Now let's get into it. So quick overview. This was a 10-day trip. We started in Lima, we went to the Sacred Valley, we stayed in Cusco, and then we did Machu Picchu in the middle of that with two very young kids. And I planned this entire trip using a mix of points, credits, and a little bit of cash. Now I'm going to walk you through flights, hotels, and Machu Picchu because that's where almost all of the cost is. But at the end, I'm also going to tell you whether I think this trip is actually worth it for a family and what I would do 100% differently if I had to do this again. All right, so let's start with the big picture. If we paid cash for everything, flights, hotels, all of it, this trip would have been a little over $25,000 for the four of us. But what we actually paid was a fraction of that. So let's start with flights because this is where the biggest savings came from. And honestly, where this trip either becomes doable for a family or completely unrealistic. If you're traveling as a family of four, you're probably thinking, okay, well, we're all flying economy because we're just trying to get there as cheaply as possible. And honestly, that's what I thought too when I first started traveling with kids. But even that isn't cheap. When I was looking at these same flights in economy, they were coming out to almost $6,000 round trip for the four of us, which is still a lot of money to get there and back. So for this trip, we actually did something very different. We flew business class to Peru, all four of us. And before you're like, okay, this is already unrealistic, let me show you why it's actually not. Because if we paid cash for those flights, it would have been around $22,000 round trip for our family. Which, yeah, that's insane. But instead, we booked those same flights using points for 35,000 miles per person each way, plus about $30 to $60 in taxes. So round trip, for four people, we paid 280,000 Alaska miles to fly on LATAM. Now, unfortunately, you can't book LATAM through Alaska anymore, but you can still book those same flights through other partners like Virgin Atlantic, Japan Airlines, or using the Avios programs like British Airways or Finnair. So no, we're not just here casually spending $22,000 on flights. That's just not realistic for us or for most families. But we still have amazing travel experiences and luxury experiences too because of points and miles. And here's why I decided to splurge for business class flights. Because I know a lot of people will say, well, why wouldn't you just fly economy with kids? Well, this was a red-eye flight and a pretty long flight. It left at 11 p.m. and landed at 5 in the morning, which means if the kids don't sleep, then nobody sleeps. And your entire first day of your trip is basically shot. So having seats where they could actually lie flat and sleep made a huge difference. And this is where I think people get this wrong. Business class isn't just about luxury when you're traveling with kids. It's about making the trip actually work and not be miserable. Because sometimes it's worth it to spend more on comfort and convenience, especially when traveling with kids. Now, we did have to reposition for these flights, and on the way home, this is where things got a little chaotic. Our international flight landed around 8 p.m., and our next flight left at 10:45 p.m., but we had to go through customs, grab our bags, recheck them, go through security again, and switch terminals with two kids in tow. And so we were hustling. But because we were in business class, we got off the plane first, which helped us get through customs and security faster because we were at the front of the line. So that made a huge difference. And so luckily we got to our gate about 20 minutes before they started boarding. Now, we also had flights within Peru, round trip between Lima and Cusco, which cost about $950 total for all four of us. And I purposefully paid a little more instead of just picking the basic fare so that we could all sit together, and it also included free checked bags because I didn't want to deal with being nickel and dimed at the airport for our luggage, and I always make sure that I'm sitting by my kids no matter what it costs. So flights were by far the biggest value of this trip. Taking something that would have cost over $22,000 and booking it for 280,000 points and about $200 in taxes, that's exactly why I use points for flights like this. Now let's talk about hotels because this is also where we got a lot of value. We stayed in 4 different places over the course of our trip. We had 2 nights in Lima, 2 nights in Ollantaytambo, 3 nights in Cusco, and then 1 more night in Lima before our flight home the next day. Our first hotel in Lima was the Suma Hotel Lima, which is part of IHG's Vignette collection. This cost us 75,000 IHG points total, and it would have been about $425 if we paid cash. And it was a solid stay. Nothing crazy, but they did let us check in early at 1 p.m., which after an overnight flight with kids is everything. So we spent some time in the rooftop infinity pool, and then we had them hold our bags, and we had lunch in Lima while we were waiting for them to finish getting our room ready. And then for the 3rd and 4th nights, we stayed in Ollantaytambo in the Sacred Valley, and this was a completely different experience. We stayed at a small boutique hotel called Tierra Inca Hotel. It was about $149 per night, so roughly $300 total. It included continental breakfast, they had free water on site, and the views from the room were incredible. You could literally see the Ollantaytambo ruins and the Andes Mountains right from the hotel. It was really nice and rural and authentic, and they also arranged our transportation from the Cusco airport to the hotel, and this wasn't just a basic transfer. It ended up being almost like a mini private tour day because we stopped at the Mara salt mines, stopped for lunch with the view, and the driver waited for us. So the whole trip ended up being about 5 hours long, and that whole transfer was only $79 for the 4 of us. And for what it included, I thought that was excellent. We were also going to visit Marais on this trip, but my daughter was having issues with the altitude and getting motion sickness from the car ride, so we did skip that part. But another cool thing about the Tierra Inca Hotel is that the owner really takes care of his property. He was actively working on renovating parts of his property, and it looks like they're trying to expand. This property is small, and they only have 15 rooms, so it's really intimate and nice. And like I said, this hotel also offers free breakfast, which was a nice perk. So then we went to Cusco, and we stayed for 3 nights there. We stayed at the Palacio del Inca. This hotel would normally cost about $440 per night, and we stayed there for 3 nights. So if we had just paid cash straight up, it would have cost $1,300. But this is where strategy matters. I booked it through the Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts, and I used 3 separate Amex Platinum $300 FHR credits. So instead of paying over $1,300, we paid about $420 total out of pocket for all 3 nights. And this is why I love stacking benefits when I can. Booking through the Amex FHR gave us a bunch of perks. We got a potential room upgrade, breakfast included, a $150 spa credit, and the overall experience was just elevated from the beginning. Now, when I've booked through the Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts program in the past with other hotels, the most that I got for an upgrade was just a better view. Nothing crazy, but at this property, they upgraded us to a suite. So instead of just a standard hotel room with 2 little kids, we had a separate living area, more space, 2 TVs, and it made a massive difference in how comfortable that stay felt. Breakfast was included for the adults through FHR, our 2-year-old was free, and there was supposed to be a charge for our 4-year-old, but they waived it as a courtesy, which I really appreciated. And this hotel has free coca tea and mint tea at all times of the day in the lobby, as well as a water bottle fill-up station. And they even put out sandwiches and grab-and-go food between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. for people who are leaving early to catch flights or who are making the trek to Machu Picchu. We had to leave at 4:20 in the morning one day for Machu Picchu, so this was really valuable to us. And even though I booked through Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts, I still added my Marriott loyalty number to the booking, and they recognized my Marriott Gold status. And honestly, Marriott Gold doesn't really get you anything valuable. But the next day, they sent up a tray of cookies and muffins to the room, thanking me for being a Marriott Gold member, which was just a huge hit for the kids. So always make sure that you attach your loyalty numbers to your reservations when you can, because you never know what you'll get. And it's always nice to get some free stuff for having status, which I got from my Amex Platinum card anyway. So on top of that, it was also my husband's birthday during this day. So they brought us a cake and sparkling wine, which was awesome. I was able to set that up through their concierge, and they were more than happy to do that. And it was complimentary as well. And it really made the stay so much more special. Oh, and another cool thing about this property is that there was even a baby alpaca in the courtyard each day, so the kids could pet and interact with it. So this hotel really felt like one of those stays where the hotel credits didn't just save money, they upgraded the entire experience. So 10 out of 10, I would stay here again. And there's also a $150 spa credit when booking through Amex FHR, which I used for a 60-minute hot stone massage, and it covered the entire thing. So yeah, not exactly roughing it there. Then on our final night back in Lima, we stayed at the Hyatt-centric San Isidro, Lima. This one cost us 8,000 Hyatt points, but I got 3,000 points back from a Hyatt promo where I was earning 3,000 bonus points for every 3-night stay during a certain period of time. So the net cost was really 5,000 Hyatt points. We didn't spend as much time here since we checked in at 5 p.m. and then checked back out at 8 a.m. the next morning, but it was actually a really nice stay. I only have Discover status with Hyatt right now, so we didn't get the free breakfast there, but the room was great, and they actually did something really cute for the kids. They came up and they set up a little teepee in the room for them to play in, and my kids absolutely loved that. They also gave us free drink vouchers for the bar, and I used mine on cappuccinos, which was a great use for those, obviously. So overall, hotels were one of the biggest reasons that this trip just felt so much more luxurious than it otherwise would have been. So we used a mix of hotel points and Amex Fine Hotels and Resorts credits to get way more value than what we paid. And that's really the theme of this whole trip. Not just saving money, but using points and credits to make family travel easier, more comfortable, and honestly just a lot more fun. Now let's talk about Machu Picchu, because this was obviously one of the highlights of the trip, but it was also one of the more expensive and complicated parts. And I think that that's something that people don't really realize. Getting to Machu Picchu is not simple. I didn't realize that until I was deep in the trenches of putting together this Peru itinerary that, yeah, it is both expensive and time consuming to get to Machu Picchu. There are multiple steps, multiple tickets, and it adds up pretty quickly. So here's the cost breakdown. The train tickets for all 4 of us were about $450 round trip. My 2-year-old was free. The entry tickets were around $115 total for our family. The bus up to the site was about 160 sols for the 2 adults, so roughly $45 to $50. And then we hired a private guide for about $89, including tip. And what's interesting about the train is that we actually booked the cheapest option, the expedition service. And it really is bare bones. No snacks, no drinks, literally just a cup of water. If you want something nicer, like the Vista Dome, then those tickets are more expensive. And this is where I think that people underestimate it. Because $150 per person for a train ticket might not sound that bad, but when you're booking for a family of 4, and then you add in the bus tickets and the entry tickets, suddenly this turns into a pretty expensive day. And then on top of that, the day itself was just a lot. We had to leave our hotel in Cusco at 4:20 in the morning, which with 2 little kids is just not ideal. From there, it's a long journey. Bus, train, and then another bus up to Machu Picchu. And by the time you actually get there, it already feels like you've done a full day. Just to give reference of how long it takes to get there, we left our hotel at 4:20 in the morning. We got to the bus at like 4:45. The bus ride from Cusco to Ollantaytambo was around 2 hours. And then the train from Ollantaytambo to Aguas Calientes was a bit over 2 hours. So it was literally like 9:30 in the morning by the time we got to Aguas Calientes, the closest town at the base of Machu Picchu. That's 5 hours of travel just to get there from Cusco. And one thing that sucks is when you're traveling with young kids, like 2 and under, is that your 2-year-old needs to sit on your lap the whole time. That's challenging if you have a toddler that squirms around a lot. I honestly would have just paid extra to have him have his own seat and give us all a little bit more room. But one thing about Machu Picchu is that it is absolutely worth it to get a guide. He was about $89 total, and he made the experience so much better. He explained everything, took pictures for us, and even recommended a restaurant afterward that ended up being the best food that we had in the area. You don't need to book a guide in advance because there are several in Aguas Calientes, and they stand right in front of the area where you're supposed to line up to catch the bus to go up the mountain. We picked the guy with the best English, and he was fantastic. So overall, Machu Picchu itself was incredible, but getting there was definitely the most logistically complicated and one of the most expensive feeling parts of the trip. But for the rest of Peru, it's actually extremely affordable. Food was honestly really cheap. We could go to a really nice restaurant, order full meals for all four of us, and it would be around $35 to $50 total. And I live in a smaller town, so I'm not even used to big city prices, and I still felt like it was really reasonable. Ubers were also super cheap and really easy to get. Within the city, rides were usually around $5 to $7, and from the airport to our hotel in Lima, that was about $20, and it was a 60-minute ride. And even longer rides, like between Cusco and the Sacred Valley, which take an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours, those trips were around $50. And we never waited more than a few minutes for a ride. There were always several cars ready to go. Activities in Peru were also really affordable. We went to the water circuit in Lima, which was like $2 per adult, kids 4 and under were free, and it felt like a full-on carnival experience. Rides were a couple of dollars each, food was extremely affordable. It was great. We also did the Maras salt mines and purchased tickets to climb the Ollantaytambo ruins, and all of that was really reasonably priced as well. So once you're actually there, it's really just the domestic flights and the Machu Picchu logistics that drive up the cost. Everything else felt pretty budget friendly. Now, there are definitely things that I would do differently if I plan this trip again, especially with young kids, like how I would structure the itinerary, where I would spend more time, and how I would handle the altitude and early flights. So I'm gonna break all of that down in a separate video because there are a few things that I think would have made this trip a lot easier. But overall, was the trip worth it? For us, I think yes. And the biggest reason is that we were able to use points and credits strategically. We were able to fly business class on a long haul international flight with kids, stay in really nice hotels, including a suite, and keep the overall costs manageable. Now, if you're thinking about planning a trip like this, especially with kids, there are definitely some mistakes that you want to avoid because there were a few things on this trip that I would absolutely do differently, and they could easily cost you time, money, and a lot of stress if you get them wrong. So in the next video, I'm breaking down the 5 biggest mistakes to avoid when planning a trip to Peru with kids. You're gonna wanna watch that before you book anything. If you learned something from this video or it helped inspire you to start traveling the world with your family, then make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Now click into that next video on the screen and I'll see you over there.